Hello, everyone, and welcome to ITLS Academy Empower the Youth. So, today in this lecture, we will going to understand what is the economic impact of food hazard. So, before going into the detail of the economic impact of foodborne illness in food industry and how to prevent them, let us understand what actually this economic impact of foodborne hazard or illness in any of the food industries or in any of the food businesses. So, if we talk about this, so the potential impact of the food safety outbreak on a food business or a food company, it can be very devastating. A single event of a foodborne disease outbreak, it can bring unimaginable economic loss. So, if there is an increase in the globalized food trade in the recent year, if we talk about, so there is an extensive production of often involving a many site and complex supply of the food chain that contributes towards an increased number of microbiological food safety outbreak. So, if we talk about the economics analysis of the food safety, it it is directly related to the cost that is shown that is much cheaper for the producer to invest in and preventing events of the foodborne outbreaks than the cost after that an event. Okay, so food is very important for the survival of humans, and if there is a hazard or if there is a foodborne illness that is there in the food so it impacts the public health. And when the public health is being impacted, so ultimately there is a loss of economic stability in the food industry. So that is written here that food safety impacts both the public health as well as the economic stability in any of the food businesses. So, if we talk about the beyond health impact, food safety issue leads to the economic cost from recalls, lost businesses, damaged reputations, and reduced productivity. So, we will going to understand with an example that how it is impacting the society or how it is impacting the businesses, that is food businesses. So let's take an example of any of the food product, let's say milk. Mother Dairy or Amul is the largest producer of the milk across the globe. People are consuming Amul milk or you can say Mother Dairy milk from ages. And there is hardly any complaints regarding that product. But take an example, let's say if today there is a any foodborne illness or any hazard that could be related to the Amul, then of course the the brand will get diversity. That is, the product get highly impacted. Why? Because since from ages it is giving a good quality of milk, and suddenly if the quality of the milk goes down, and after consuming that particular milk from that particular brand, people are falling ill, people are having severe health impact, then of course the brand name can also be impacted. People will face a trust issue again by for using the product from Amul. So it is very important for a food businesses companies to manufacture a food product that is free from any sort of microbial contaminant. Why? Just to avoid any impact on their businesses, because we as a people, whenever we are purchasing any food items from any of the food brand, so the first thing before purchasing is the trust of the consumer. So if a food business is if any industry wants to build a very high empire of their food businesses, so the first thing is the manufacturing, means to manufacture a food product that is free from any sort of microbial contamination. The second is a product that can easily be accepted by the consumer, because whatever a company is manufacturing, it is manufacturing for the consumer, right? So if you want to gain the trust of the customer, if you want to gain their trust, so the product should be up to the mark. Whenever I'm saying up to the mark, it simply means the quality and of the food product should be high, so that there is no chances of any sort of microbial contamination. So whenever a company achieve the quality, whenever a company is manufacturing a product with a high quality, then that company grows very fast, because as a customer we want to purchase those items, we want to purchase those food product that is in high quantity, sorry, quality, and that is being that product should avoid any sort of microbial contaminant. So that is the reason why the food industry should be so conscious while producing any food product. Let's say if the company is not producing a food product of high quality, then what happened? Then there is a financial loss, nobody will going to purchase your item, the brand name will also fall down, nobody will going to purchase your brand product. Then ultimately there is a loss, there is a financial loss due to the loss of business, there is also chances of legal cost also due to any foodborne outbreaks. Okay, the reputation of the company will also goes down, customer confidence or the loyalty of the customer can also be reduced, nobody will going to purchase your product. Why? Because after purchasing your product people are falling ill. Then of course the sale and the export will also get decreased. So it is very important for any food businesses to produce a food product that would have a high quality, means for every food businesses industries, food safety is the important for people's general health and daily life, as well as the economic development and social stability, the government's and country's image also. Well, let us take an example again to understand this. In the recent article I was reading, there was an example of Clostridium contamination of whey protein product that puts the producer company at the center of a global food safety scare. The company management and the government authorities are trying their best to protect the overall reputation of their food businesses across the globe. But this incident means the Clostridium contamination highlights a very strong needs for the government regulatory agencies to tackle the challenge in the food safety. So it is understandable that the private sector's prime target is to increase profit relative to cost. Food safety production for consumer is depend on the strong government regulation. So it is very important for any of the industries to have a proper production system that should have a good amount of safety and should always obey all the regulatories guidelines, that is FSSAI, that is HACCP, that is GMPs, GLPs. So every food regulatories should be followed by the governments, or sorry, by the industries. Now coming to the foodborne risk, food is essential and yet it can also pose a serious risk. So see, for a human survival, not only for human, for every living creature, food is the basic necessity of our life. means we cannot live our life without food. And of course we cannot live our life without with a food that has Huh? That is free from contamination, means the food should always avoid contamination. Okay, so contaminated food tainted with pathogens cause thousands of deaths worldwide and millions of illness each year. So it is very important for a person to consume a food that is free from any sort of microbial or pathogenic activity. So if the food get contaminated with different kinds of pathogens like bacteria, viruses, so they causes a thousands of death worldwide and a million of illness each year. So according to WHO, that is a World Health Organization, 1 in 10 people fall ill due to contaminated food. So in newspapers also, if you google the graph or different news, so you see that 1 in 10th people, if there is a group of 10 people, 1 people will fall ill. Why? Due to the contaminated food that result in 600 million cases and 4,20,000 deaths globally. So can you see that how much extent this foodborne illness is harmful for a community of people? So the impact of this unsafe food extends beyond the individual health, that is creating a significant financial burdens on individual and food industries worldwide. So it is very important for every food industries to take an oath that they should produce a product for the betterment of people, and they should always abide by all the regulatory bodies so that they can avoid the risk of contamination. Now comes the monetary consequences of foodborne illness. So, what is the monetary consequences of foodborne illness? So, if there is an outbreak, okay, so the outbreak, what they can do, they can damage the customer trust. As already told you, if there is a outbreak of any food in any of the food businesses, means a food get contaminated and people are getting ill by using or consuming that particular food, so what it can do, it have a severe consequences. The first is the consumer trust. So what it can do, it can damage the consumer trust in a specific product or brand. And if the trust of the consumer get affected, so there is a decrease in businesses sale and financial challenges also. So the negative publicity and harm to the reputation caused by the foodborne illness can have a long lasting effect, that potentially leading to the permanent closure of establishment. Companies may face a legal expense if affected. Individuals take legal action, further impacting the economy. So, again, uh, there is a huge loss at the companies for the companies. Why? Because their brand get properly deteriorated, their product is not being used by the peoples, so there is a financial loss, economic loss in that particular company. So it's again, to avoid these losses, what a company should do, a company should always manufacture a product for the betterment of the people. Now, foodborne illness outbreak, it also diminished the customer trust. Already told you that every food industries, if I name any of the many of the food industries like Indian based, if I talk you, that Britannia is there, PepsiCo is there, your milk industries, Amul, Mother Dairies. Okay, so there are different types of industries that is there in India. Okay, and across there are thousands and thousands of industries across the India. So worldwide. And what these companies are doing, people will say that they are manufacturing the food. Yes, they are manufacturing the food, but for whom? for the customer. So their main principle or their main aim is to produce a food item so that people customers can properly accept their product. Means always they can their strategy is to earn the trust of the people by producing a food item that is of high quality. So if a if any of the company lack in this thing, that is to gain the customer trust and everything, so this lack of confidence can lead to the enduring consumer behavior and preference shift. So these changes in the consumer behavior can disrupt the market as well as their businesses. What they are doing, they are amplifying the economic consequences of foodborne illness. The financial implications of foodborne disease affects the individual, businesses, and entire economy. So in this way, the economy of the company, or sorry, in economy of any of the countries, as well as the economics or financial loss of any of the industries occur. So it is very important for any industries, again I am repeating, to manufacture a food item that is free from any sort of microbial pathogenic activity. Now, what is the consequences of unsafe food? So consequences are very simple. Okay, it leads to a direct health effect. Food contamination can lead to a direct effect on the health. Okay, not only a country wise, globally it affects the health of the people. So the financial burden of unsafe food includes direct and indirect costs arising from the immediate effect of foodborne illness and their long-term impact on public health, productivity, and economy. So how they are impacting, what are the consequences? So the consequences are, it affects the foodborne illness, their long term impact on public health, productivity, and the economy. So, unsafe food may sometimes only leads to a mild acute symptoms, but it can also cause chronic illness like cancer, affect nutritional intake according to the expert. So people think that foodborne illness is a very they have a very mild, or you can say acute symptoms. Sometimes a mild diarrhea or a stomach ache is the only consequences that is there if a person consume unsafe food. But no, it is not always the case. Sometimes the symptoms are so chronic that it not chronic, you can say the symptoms are so severe that they can cause the chronic illness, like different kinds of cancers are there, the nutritional effect on the nutritional intake, and many other diseases. So it is very important for a consumer to consume a food product that is free from any sort of microbial contamination. So the event touch on the range of health consequences because unsafe food can caused by microbiological hazards, that is bacteria, fungi, parasites, as well as chemicals and toxins. So it is always the case that different types of these foodborne illness, they are caused by different kinds of bacteria, different types of viruses, parasites. Sometimes they are caused by chemicals as well as toxins. So it also have covered how WHO tries to quantify the burdens through the estimation of total incidents, death and disability adjusted life years. Okay, so this is the direct impact on the health of the people. Now comes preventing the foodborne illness in crucial is crucial for economic growth. So now generally sometimes in interviews or sometimes in discussion also there is a topic that how you prevent the foodborne illness and how this prevention is crucial for economic growth. Okay, so of course the substantial cost linked with the foodborne illness, they underscore the critical need for the prevention. Sometimes the food safety measures invest can lead to a significant economic benefit. Implementing the robust digital hygiene practice real-time solution can severely decrease the contamination. So first of all, generally one question arises that how a company can avoid the contamination, how a company can prevent the contamination of food. So there are certain methods through which a company can can reduce these foodborne risk. First is robust digital hygiene practices. By implementing this, then the real time solution, again this can also reduce uh, different types of pathogenic activities in the food. Then they can also a company can also have a real time solution as well, so that that can lead to a significant decrease in the contamination occurrences. And different methods can be used by the industries, that includes a close monitoring whenever a food is producing. So in this way, a company can reduce the occurrence of contamination. Now, embracing a proactive approach to food safety protects public health, foster economic stability, and it will leads to the promotes the growth. Now comes what is an emerging food risk. So now if we talk about this, what is the an emerging food risk. So a risk resulting from a newly identified hazard to which a significant exposure may occur, or from the unexpected new or decreased significant exposure or susceptibility known as hazard. So hazard, it can be leads to by an increased expo a food. Whenever a food is exposed to unknown hazard, then also it can cause a severe contamination in the food. Whenever there is a new hazard in the row, so again a new hazard can also contaminate a number of food items, and increase in the susceptibility to the hazard. So this is the these are some of the food emerging food risk. And this risk is a risk of the hazard can leads in the different kinds of contamination in the food item, and it is very dangerous for a longer term. So again, it is very important to avoid to take preventive measure whenever a production of food item is being there in any of the industry. Now, what are the six big foodborne illnesses? So, norovirus is one of the biggest foodborne illness. Then hepatitis A, E. coli, salmonella. That is, there is two types of salmonella. One is a non-typhoidal, and second is the typhoidal salmonella. Then there is a shingella, is again a foodborne illness. So we will going to understand each one in detail. So the first is the norovirus. So norovirus occurs with the direct contact with the infected. So contact with the facial matter of the thing. Then of course the norovirus can be transmitted. Bodily fluids transfer to food. If there is a contaminated water, then also norovirus can occur. Then comes the hepatitis A. So the hepatitis A has a contaminated food and water, and when there is a direct contact with vessel material, then there is a cross contamination, then the hepatitis A occurs. Then comes the e coli. It has a contact with the fecal matter, sorry, contamination of food and water, undercooked meat, raw milk. That is the reason people pasteurize the milk, or in homes we boil the milk before having the milk. Because in the raw milk there is a thousands and thousands of bacteria, viruses, thousands of pathogens are there. One is the one important is E coli, and that is the reason to inactivate the pathogens, to inactivate their activity. It is very important for a person to boil or to pasteurize the milk, so that these pathogenic activity can be deactivated. Now comes the typhoidal salmonella. The non-typhoidal salmonella, they occurs in the food of animal origin, for example poultry, meat, eggs and other meat items. They occurs in the contaminated foods and vegetables, processed food like peanut butter, or you can say different types of the frozen food items, for example frozen pies, contaminated water. Everywhere these salmonellas are present. Now the typhoidal salmonella, so whenever the meat is undercooked, means the meat is not cooked properly, for example any kind of milk, let's say beef, pork, poultry, any types of chicken product, so sorry meat, then of course there is a chances of the salmonella. When there is a contaminated raw fruits and vegetables, raw and undercooked eggs and egg product, raw milk, so there is a chances of this type of pathogens to get entered in the food items. Now shingella, it is occurs in the contaminated food and water, sick food handler. If a person who is handling the food, if he or she is not well, then of course there is a chances of shingella. Then when there is a contact with the facial meat matter, then of course there is a chances of shingella. Whenever there is a cross contamination, then there is a chances of shingella. So these are the six big foodborne illness, and it is very important from the interviews as well as from the exam point of view. Now generally one question arises, sorry, that why food safety is important. So again, food safety is very important aspect of any of the food businesses or any of the food industries, because no customer would willingly buy food that is likely to make them sick. Yes, is it possible for us? No, it is not possible for us to buy or to purchase a food item that is in very low quality, and we if we know that after consuming this kind of food we will fall ill, so it is not recommended and nobody will purchase this. So consumers have become more educated about food safety and their associated risk, and from the last few years, due to after the covid, people are becoming more conscious that what are they eating. So why food safety is important? So the first is preventing illness, protecting vulnerable population, preventing the economic loss. So preventing illness, says that foodborne illness, it can cause a very serious health problems including diarrhea, vomiting, fever, and sometimes the symptoms are so chronic that even a death of a person can occur. So by ensuring that food is free from harmful contaminant, we can prevent these illness from occurring, and of course we can also gain the trust of the consumer. Then protecting the vulnerable population, so certain populations such as young children's or elderly peoples or a pregnant women's and the people who have a very weak immune system, they are at the higher risk of developing the serious illness from the foodborne contamination. So food safety measures helps to protect these vulnerable population. Then comes the last one, that preventing the economic loss. So foodborne illness, they can also have a significant economic impact. When people become sick from the contaminated food, they may miss work or require medical care, resulting in the lost productivity and increased their health care cost. So again, this factor because of this factor also, food safety is very important. So now that brings to the end of the lecture. I hope you have understood the lecture, And trust me, this is one of the important lecture of food safety officer series, because this chapter will let you know why food safety is important at every aspect of our life. So thank you again for watching. Follow ITLS Academy on different platform, and don't forget to subscribe ITLS and Academy on YouTube, so that you can get more lectures. And don't forget to press the bell icon. If you want to download our channel, you can app, you can directly get it from Google Play Store. This is our website, that is www.itlsacademy.com. You can simply visit our website and get updated. This is our helpline number as well as WhatsApp number, that is 7080833450. You can simply call on this number and get updated. Thank you for watching. Please do like, share and subscribe ITLS Academy.